Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us during this busy holiday time. We appreciate you being here, and I want to thank my panel that's here with me today. I have Karen Downey and Susan Jarboe and Rev Linda Burdett. And I will be leading our topic, but before I do that, let's just take a moment to just decompress from the stress of the holidays and be able to get centered and focused so that we can give our full presence to this moment in time that we are giving to spirit and to the divine and to our hearts and our souls and our minds. So just whatever it takes to relax, if it means shaking off the tension in your shoulders, your hands, planting your feet firmly on the ground. If you want to close your eyes to sort of close out the distraction of what's going on around you. And just slow your breathing down just to feel that sense of relaxation. That triggers your body to know that this is a time of reflection. This is a time to go within. And as you take a deep breath in, inhale the spirit of the divine. The Holy Spirit fills your body and ignites your heart and your soul and your mind. And then as you release that breath, just know that that tension dissipates, that all the stress that you're feeling at this time is just, you're letting it go. You're setting it aside. This is your time. This is your moment. And with this, we want to say, we thank you, God, that you give us this time to be able to share your wisdom, your knowledge, your joy, your love, your peace, and that within our hearts we can feel the serenity and the beauty of this season. We thank you for the blessed gift of the Magi, for Jesus, your Son, that you give to us freely and openly for us to be able to connect with the divine within each and every one of us. With this, we say, thank you, God. So, everyone, I'm doing a topic today, and it comes from the Unity booklet, their Advent 2023 booklet called The Sweetest Christmas, if you can see that. And I love the little pictures of all the baked goods. And for those who are busy baking cookies and things for the holidays, I know that adds a little extra stress. So, the article in that booklet that caught my attention was the Nativity in You. Many of us have our nativities set up through the holidays, and we see the gathering of this meaning for Christmas at the birth of Jesus in a lowly stable. And I wanted to take some time that when you look at that to reflect on each of those pieces in your nativity set is a symbology, is that character and that story represents a part of you. And this article that was written was done by Rev Ellen Debenport. She's done several books. We've used her for some of our classes. And she's the president of the Unity Worldwide headquarters. And so, so with this, I want to sort of read excerpts from her article. So consider this. Every character in the Nativity story represents a part of you. Their traits lie deep within your consciousness. Called Bible metaphysics, this is perhaps the most distinctive teaching in the Unity spiritual movement. We take every character in the Bible, good or bad, and look at what they reveal about us as human beings and individuals. Understanding the Bible this way started with Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore. And the characters in the Christmas story were later explained by Unity minister Hypatia Hasbrock in her book, The Trip to Bethlehem. So we say every year that the birth of the Christ child symbolizes the divine born in each of us. Celebrating our divine birth brings a deep awareness of our true spiritual nature. And so how we're going to explore these characters came directly from her book, The Trip to Bethlehem. Mary, the Virgin, represents the pure soul, ready to allow the expression of the Christ. Her conversation with the angel is not a dream, but a conscious connection with God. Mary symbolizes love, youth, and possibilities. All of these elements are part of our own consciousness. Your soul, your ability to connect with God, and your expression of love. Joseph represents the father, a nurturer, provider, and protector. Watching Mary's experience, he brings human awareness to spiritual oneness. A part of you nurtures and protects too. A part of you witnesses and honors the deep spiritual connection in others. This is the Joseph within you. Jesus, as an unborn child, is the image of God latent in every soul. As a newborn, Jesus is a divine child with power to activate all parts of consciousness. His birth represents the dawning revelation of our own divinity or spiritual nature. The shepherds are abiding in fields in darkness, unaware, but faithful enough to leave their valuable sheep to seek the child. Something in your consciousness prompts you to seek spiritual awareness, to heed the angels and journey out of darkness. The wise men represent spiritual wisdom, are the only ones who can see the star over Bethlehem. Your inner wisdom can perceive the divine within you. Herod is the human ego, threatened by the awakening of a new consciousness. The king's determination to slay all the baby boys represents a battle within yourself as the ego fights to maintain control, safety, and life as you knew it before your spiritual awakening. You may feel a pull to abandon your new spiritual path and return to whatever is familiar. That's Herod in you. Do you see how this works? Do you recognize parts of yourself in each of these characters? So when you take the trip to Bethlehem and you look at your nativity set, think of these characters and the details and the meanings on a metaphysical point of view. The other details in her book, she talks about the cave and manger, the inn, gold, frankincense, myrrh, the towns of Nazareth and Bethlehem. And if you can be able to get this book from the unity.org/shop if you want to read it more in depth. The nativity story is a way you can bring new meaning to your Christmas season. But if nothing else, remember that every child born is a divine child with the inherent attribute of God and the power to develop an elevated consciousness of love, compassion, and acceptance, just as Jesus did. That includes you. So I really was drawn to this because I thought it interesting to see how each piece in my nativity set reflected the inner me, the spiritual part of me. And just seeing the Herod, even though he's not in my nativity set, but his story, knowing his story about him feeling so threatened that he had to kill every baby boy because he didn't want a more powerful king over him. And when she describes in here that that's the human ego, when we feel threatened, when something is out of our comfort zone, when we feel, we just can't take a control, we don't have control over this and we're feeling so threatened. It's like our ego is just fighting any of our spiritual self and our knowing of goodness within us and our divineness that we just want to abolish it, get rid of it, throw it away, and some part of that, we're tossing aside our divine goodness because the ego has taken over. And I thought that was very prevalent to seeing a part of what the story is about. Um, and Joseph, we so little talk about Joseph, but seeing him as the protector, the nurturer, that within ourselves, so we provide for ourselves, we protect ourselves and others. And then that experience he had with Mary by, you know, knowing that she is with child and accepting this and still taking her in, he was just to the point of having that deeper spiritual connection with someone else, with spirit, to be accepting of what was going on. So, and remembering that Mary is all about love, about being open to God's will. She didn't say when the angel came to her, said, "Not me, God, don't pick on me, find somebody else. I'm not going to do this." She said, "Thy will be done." And so when God comes calling to us to do something, how often do we say, "Not me, have somebody else do it"? Well, it's God's way of asking us to be Mary in this life process. So I want to open this to my panel to hear their thoughts on these different characters and the nativity scene and how it this brought thoughts up for you. So who would like to go next?
Well, I absolutely will go. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the metaphysical ideas behind the different characters. Herod as the ego really struck home for me. I can really see that, wanting to just destroy and change the whole world rather than accept physical evolution or spiritual evolution. Herod believed that this child would be the death of him. The prophecy was that when this child was born, he would grow to change the world and end Herod and his reign, his people. And of course, he thought that meant he was just going to show up and kill him because it was a prophecy. So he was trying to extend his own life and protect his reign in killing all the firstborn children. And I can relate to that so well. There have been things in my life that I absolutely did not want to change, even knowing that spiritually and divinely these things were for my highest and best good. I still clung to things that I wanted. I didn't want it to be over. And my my greed, my ego wouldn't even let me imagine how much better life could be if I would release it and let go and move forward. I like the idea of Joseph as father, especially as he was kind of stepfather. And I relate to that in my life. I quite a bit. Growing up, I had a whole series of stepfathers, and having Joseph make the decision, knowing full well this was not his child, um and make the decision to step up and take over parentage of that child. That's like the highest and best for a stepfather. It's wonderful having that role model. So thank you, Kathy. I got a lot out of this and just shared a little bit of what I could have. But of course, I want to hear the rest of the panel as well.
Yeah, I really liked this, and looking at uh, more metaphysical interpretations of what's going on, I think is really interesting. One of the things that bothers me about nativity plays, and you've probably all seen one in a church somewhere, is there was no innkeeper. And yet every nativity play has a scene where the innkeeper is turning them away. And that just really bothers me. Um, I wish things could be more accurate. What occurred to me, though, while you were talking was I was reflecting on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And you probably have all encountered that somewhere along the line. And it seemed to me that if you think of Maslow's triangle, down at the bottom, of course, are physical needs, but just above that are safety and security needs. And so that's where I see Joseph in Maslow's hierarchy is manifesting our need to feel safe and to feel secure. And moving up a layer, when we talk about Herod, yes, we were talking about his ego, but what was behind that was he was concerned about his presentation of self. He didn't want to lose power with other people. He was concerned about social relationships. Yes, that was driven by the ego, but there's a certain belongingness need that we have. And so I see him kind of on that level in terms of relationships with other people. Now, Mary would be at the very top of our Maslow's triangle, where we have self-actualization. And this is, where you can be the best you can be somehow. And when she says, my soul magnifies the Lord, to me, that's self actualization. How can you be any more than that? And I really like that line, my soul magnifies the Lord, because that's something I'd like to think about every day of my life for my soul to do that. So thank you very much for this story. I have put in a psychological twist on it, but it's all been very interesting.
I too, thank you, Kathy. That was really thought provoking. I never would have thought about that. The metaphysical meaning has such depth of the human parts that are within all of us. I was thinking about the cave and the significance of when I pull in and isolate and don't want to get out of the cave. And then the baby Jesus, and the innocence, the preciousness and the innocence, and now that's kind of connecting with the cave inside the womb and being birthed into this precious, innocent gift. And then we start on the journey. And the journey, the one that stood out, of course, is Herod and the ego, and the process of learning so many false beliefs, looking good, being perfect, dressing right, playing with the right people, all of those other things that get thrown in, that immediately there's judgment on who I really am, that little innocent baby. And Joseph, what that was saying to me was, I wasn't ever really protected like by a father or somebody as a child. So I don't have that reference. And I never really felt that in a marriage. But what I've gotten to learn, it, is that as a single woman is, oh, it's up to me. I'm the one that has to protect me and not look outside myself for the right guy or the right place to live, which that comes up quite frequently. It's like, I'm sure there might be someplace else. I have to protect me. And I loved what you said, Kat. Well, I loved what all of you said. But right now, what's in my mind is Mary and what you said, how you tied that into self-actualization. And the word that I had written down was acceptance. It's like when I have finally come through all of the dark and stepped out of the ego and the isolating and accept myself as I am. And that is that self-actualization. And that is the process of making that journey from the head, the cave, to the heart, letting go of all of the stuff in between. So that was really cool. I hope everybody else got as much out of that one as I did. I might even have to get the little book so I can, yeah, show the little book again, Kathy, if you still have it there.
So it's the
Oh,
Sweetest Christmas. Whoops, wait a minute. Let me get this in the camera. This is the Unity
okay.
booklet. And it's an article in this. It's from Avid 23. But the book, if you want to write
I
this
am.
down, is that she wrote this article based on the book by it's called The Trip to Bethlehem, and it's by Hypatia. It's Hypatia Hasbrouck, Hasbrouck, and it's available at unity.org/shop. So if you go to their bookstore, you should be able to get this book. That
Thank
this
you.
article, and that goes more in depth. This Ellen just brought this as an excerpt out of that book and wrote this article for that Unity booklet. So if you
Thank
want to
you.
get more in-depth metaphysical understanding of the Christmas story. So
Yes, and I'm sure that the viewers out there jotted those notes down too, because
yeah,
each of the characters and parts could really be a good daily little meditation, just something to think of outside ourselves.
yeah. Well, it's something great to, when you decorate for Christmas and you've got your nativity set out there. It's just being able to look at each one of these and just embrace that spiritual connection, that metaphysical connection of who they are in this Christmas story and how that fulfills in your life. So just it's a different look on how we get through the holidays too. So
Awesome.
anybody else want to share something? Well, thank you. I want to thank Susan and Reverend Linda and Karen for joining me today. And if you liked what we talked about, please give us a like or write any notes or comments. We do read them, and we will, if you want feedback, ask for it. We will respond. If you're not a subscriber, please become one. We want to welcome the new subscribers to our website, and we look forward to being able to share these thoughts. If you're interested in joining our panel, you can do it from anywhere in the U.S. because we do this on Zoom. So if you're hearing this somewhere else and you think, well, I'd like to bring my topics, let the church know. After we close this, there's a little ending that will give you the information how to reach out to the church to find out if you want to be a part of this. And with that, I want to say thank you. I want to wish you all a very happy holiday, a very Merry Christmas, and may the Christ within you light the world about you. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.